miss this shot. You're not just letting me down, you're letting your whole team down too.
Mad Props.
Hello and welcome to Mad Props, the place where you get mad props for your movie and TV props. Here, every prop matters and every prop has a story. And tonight, I'm joined by the legend, Mighty Duck collecting phenom, Connor. Connor, welcome back to the podcast, and how you doing?
Hey, it's a great day to be alive, man. I'm psyched to be here.
Well, thank you for joining me. And in case people haven't seen it, this is actually the second time that we're doing this, but doing this, slightly differently. The first time was like an in the middle section of when we had Matt Doherty, who played Averman in the Mighty Ducks movies, on our Mighty 90s podcast. And it was maybe about 9-10 months ago, something like that, before this like Mad Props segment of our podcast network existed. But now that which is awesome. So people go back and check that out. It was a really fun conversation. Really enjoyed that. And then since then, we've been on just recently How We Would Have Written It, where we pitched our own Mighty Ducks pitches for how we would have written the TV show, along with Jason, Aaron, and Theo. That was a lot of fun. So you can find that on here on the YouTube channel, or on Patreon and wherever. But what we really need to get into is the depths of your collection and really, really, really go through. I want to hear the story about all of them, about how you got all of these jerseys, because you have the most impressive collection. I love it. I want to do like a Ocean's 11 style robbery of your house.
Hey, well, you know my address, so you could, I guess.
That's true. I would never. I just want to marvel at the beauty of what you have there. But so before we get into that, just for anyone that doesn't know, tell us, why these movies mean so much to you. Like how did all of this collecting begin?
Honestly, it's actually a really good question. I'm not exactly sure, but I've always liked collecting sports stuff. When I was a kid, I really liked football, American football, for those watching overseas. And collected mini football helmets. I always got those for Christmas. Loved collecting cards, those kind of things. And I always liked being a proud Minnesotan. And for those of you that don't know, Minnesota is not known for a ton in kind of the cinema. Every once in a while we get a movie, and it's usually based on accents or some something very random. But the Mighty Ducks were one of the few series that was kind of based in Minnesota. They were all Minnesota kids, and it was kind of the sweet spot of kind of me growing up in Duluth, and that hockey being, even if you didn't play hockey competitively, at my elementary school, you had to learn how to skate. It wasn't optional. Every Friday, every grade would skate for an hour, and if you didn't have skates, that was fine, because they had skates for you, and that was just how it was. So the movies themselves were always fun, because it was sort of like who I was as a kid, and I loved collecting sports stuff, and it was kind of a match made in heaven of, well, I can collect those jerseys because they are the Minnesota jersey, if you will, and it sort of took on a life of its own. I didn't imagine it would be kind of like this. I thought I'd just grab a couple when they went for sale, and that was going to be that. But it has definitely rolled into something much, much bigger than that.
Yes. I mean, do you know exactly how many of the screen worn jerseys that you have?
It's on a spreadsheet now. I guess we'll find out. I think it's got to be like 14, 15 maybe. We'll have to kind of keep track. We'll see.
Well, firstly, this is the first mention I've ever heard of a spreadsheet, and I'm definitely going to need a screenshot of that afterwards, because I need to know.
Yeah, you'll think it's really funny, and I think it's funny. So that might be saying something.
Well,
but yeah, you'll enjoy it.
Well, for people that don't know, your ultimate goal here is to have one jersey from every team that's featured within the trilogies, right?
Yeah, it sort of started as D2 to be every jersey that's in D2. So I had Iceland first. That was kind of the first one, and USA was the second, very close behind. And then I just sort of thought it'd be fun to get every obscure one It didn't start as getting the biggest jersey, biggest names, or the biggest actors. It was kind of just like having one that was either used in production or just made in production. And recently, I've gotten some more that are a little bit more notorious, thanks to you personally. But a couple other bigger name ones that are kind of fun. But for the most part, it wasn't really about having this huge expensive collection. It was more just having one that was unique, and that's probably still the case. But yeah, and now it's with the internet, it's so much easier to connect with people all over the world, and just talk about something very random, but something that most people like to talk about because it reminds them of when they were kids.
Yeah, exactly. And then now we're in this peculiar situation where the Mighty Ducks is current again because the Game Changers TV show has come out. And I saw you put a poll out. So firstly, links in the description for Connor's Instagram page, and he has it's called Jersey Chasing, but it's a whole page dedicated to not just the Mighty Ducks screen worn jerseys, but predominantly, but also some others as well. So it's great to like watch your journey on there. But you put a poll on there saying about whether you should also be collecting the jerseys from the new Mighty Ducks TV show, and I think I was the only person that voted to say no.
You were.
I mean, how do you feel about that? Is that something you're looking to get into? Would you want a screen worn Don't Bothers jersey?
I would probably take a Ducks and Don't Bothers for sure. There were a lot more teams in this one, but those ones would be iconic enough where it's like, that's a no-brainer for sure. And then I don't want to spoil it, but the other ones. That would be fun. I do know it took, 17 years? Yeah, just about 17 years for these jerseys to kind of like get into the marketplace, and I'm not sure if they really wanted them to. So I don't have high hopes, and I don't have any connections. It's not like I have some Hollywood guy that I have on speed dial. I just find random people on the internet, and that's how it works.
Well, you're always someone that enjoys the hunt, which I really respect. And I mean, that's kind of how we connected, because essentially I was selling, I think was it the Warriors jersey? Yeah, the Goldberg Warriors jersey from D3. I think I put that up on eBay, and then we were conversing back and forth, and it ended up being that I sold you that jersey. You helped me to connect with someone to get Fulton Reed's tracksuit from D2, which was like a dream item, like not necessarily his character. That's great that it was his character, but any character, that tracksuit. And then that kind of is how it spawned, of just back and forth and connecting. And I also just remembered, of course, you and I co-hosted Justin Wong, Kenny Wu on a Mad Props episode. So if you haven't seen that, check that out as well, because if you're enjoying this, you'll love to see Justin's collection, which is awesome. But you've got more jerseys than Justin. I mean, his are cool because obviously
he's got the big names. Yeah.
Yeah, he's got his name.
How are you going to compete with that, right?
yeah, exactly. And he had loads. I mean, not only did he have all of the Kenny Wu jerseys, but he had like 3 or 4 of the Mighty Ducks, the the Anaheim Duck logo jerseys, and he had a Conway and loads of stuff. So yeah, check that out as well. And just to make it abundantly clear, the jerseys we're talking about here, none of them are replicas. These are all either screen worn in the movie or production. So they might be like a stunt double, or might be whatever, but they're all featured in the movie, or in and around the movie. None of these are replicas, just to be 100% clear.
I do have some replicas, but they're upstairs, so that'll be for another time.
Yeah. Excellent. Okay, and just last question. Before we get into the props, when you was like a kid or growing up, like with these movies, and Dom and I often talk about this on our Ravens podcast and Mighty 90s, was there a character that you like particularly identified with, that like hooked you into the movie, like someone that you sort of saw yourself as? Because quite often that lends itself to people becoming more invested, and especially with stories like this where it's about the underdog, so to speak, and we can all relate to being an underdog in some form or another: work, relationships, life, friends, whatever, sports. So yeah, was there like a character that you sort of saw yourself as?
That's a really good question. I think I will maybe take the easy answer and say Charlie Conway. More just because, I mean, I guess as a kid, I was athletic and usually pretty good, but it's not like I was the best by far. So I can't say Banks. That seems a little conceited. But I always tried really hard, and that I see was kind of like Charlie's thing. Was he just tried really hard, and he always tried to do the right thing. And whether I wanted to or not, I guess I'm a sensitive person now. You could categorize me as, but I was always, as a kid, I was really, really sensitive. So, I always wanted to do the right thing. And if a coach yelled at me, then I would, I'd get upset. So I always saw kind of Charlie he was kind of the, emotional a little bit, but always tried to do the right thing. And yeah, I'd say Charlie. Why not?
He's the cornerstone, really. He's the heart and soul of the franchise. I mean, he
Yeah.
kind of gets left out a little bit in the second movie. I don't know if you know this, but this is trivia. This is true. That in the second movie, the director I think, was different from the director of D1,
Hmm.
and he wanted to
I know who
cut.
you're gonna
He wanted to recast Joshua Jackson.
say. I mean, you can always like look back at little moments of if this person got cast or that person got cast, but that seems like one that it would have like totally ruined the whole franchise.
It's crazy. Like, Joshua Jackson plays that role so well, and he's so quintessentially like that's his role. So
Uh-huh.
that would have been a huge mistake, and obviously I'm glad that it didn't happen. But you can kind of tell watching that movie, he kind of gets forgotten about a little bit. Like, he has his moment at the end, and he has a couple moments here and there, but it's not like in the first one where we're channeling it through. Like, Charlie's kind of our entry point into the rest of the Ducks team, and then in the third one it comes back to being that perspective as well, as being our like protagonist of like the kids. And then in the second one it's kind of a bit all over the place.
It's sort of interjected with all the new characters. They have their moments, and then he brings everybody together, and then he sits out and is the coach, and those are his two moments.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I also I saw myself as a Charlie for the same reasons, because yeah, he's not great, he's not particularly good at it, but he wants it, and he's passionate about it, and he's into it. And I also, definitely more on the sensitive side. I host a One Tree Hill podcast. I don't think there's any surprises there.
It's good to be self-aware though. That's a big piece.
Yeah, I'm sure Charlie was self-aware as well,
Oh,
of his,
he got there, yeah, yeah.
yeah,
Took him till high school, but
yeah. And then again he gets there. Um but okay, let's dive in. So what have we got? You said we're going to go in order of the movies, right? So to
we'll
D1 first.
we'll try to hodgepodge, but we'll probably go chronological if we can here, just to keep things orderly. Like I said, I started as D2, kind of like I was just going to do that one. One, it's super hard to do just that, and I sort of found, hey, this is kind of fun, so I don't need to limit myself, or at least in which movies. And I've grown to really appreciate even D3. I think D1's the classic. That's the easy one, but I think D3 now, it's climbing up there. I still got to say it's the third on the list, but not by much. Not as much as I used to think it was. But we'll start at the beginning. And this one again, I'm a little light on D1. So if anybody knows of where those kind of jerseys are, hey, you know who I am. You know where I am. So why not? So this is, I think, one of the best jerseys that they made kind of ever.
Oh yeah.
So here's the Hawks jersey. You can tell it's real. A little jersey trivia for you guys. The white turns to black. Sort of, it's not super easy to tell, but sort of, what's the word I'm looking for? but it sort of blends in.
It's not
But
obvious. Yeah.
yeah. But goes to black. And this is number 99, Stickler. You can see him every once in a while. But I did hear this. I don't know if it's exactly true, but I heard this was one of the first ones made kind of off the assembly. And they use some of the names that you see. They're either like very, very obvious hockey names, or like Stickler is just like a hockey stickler.
I didn't even think of that.
Yeah, so if you look at some of the names in these ones, or especially on the Hawks, you'll kind of see those kind of things, which is funny. Or they're very stereotypical, like Scandinavian or European names that would play hockey in Minnesota. So that's kind of fun.
Can I just say quickly that firstly, on the Hawks logo on the front, when I got my one, I was like, oh, what's happened to it? I was like, has it faded because of like it's so old or something? Like I didn't realize, and then until I went and screen matched like on the movie that they all kind of fade on the way out. So that's really cool. And then I found we often talk about how you can screen match the jerseys, and I found a way to do it with the Hawks ones is on the back. You know the blue kind of outline of the wings.
The wings thing.
They're kind of slightly different on each one because I think they've been hand cut. So like some of the length. Yeah, like you see like the two at the bottom, like between the 9 and the long one, like the length and angle of some of them are a little bit different. So if you can get your freeze frame on, you can have a look and work it out.
Wow. And this one, I assume it's you can tell it's used. I don't know if it was used by someone like me wearing it 20 years later, or if it was used back then. We'll never know, but I'll pretend it was from the movie.
That's a dope one. Just before you go on to the other one, just to make it clear, because I didn't ask. You said D3 would be in third. So what is first and second is in your favorites of the three?
D2 is the best by far. Like that, it's not even close. But it's obviously you wouldn't have the second one without the first one, so you got to give the first one respect. But I think it was because in kids movies, like when it takes long to like get to know characters, once you kind of like, okay, we know how they are, and then you can tell the story. I've always liked the second season of those kind of things because or second movie. But D2, they really, really did it well.
D2 is my favorite as well and always has been. But I think if we were to look at it like objectively, D1 is by far the best made movie. Like as in it's got the best story, it's the best sort of shot and all of the character arcs and everything. And then D2 is like just put that on steroids and put glitter on it and make it glow. And it's and it just over embellishes, but in the perfect way. Like it's I mean, D2 is a perfect film. Said it. Godfather 2, Empire Strikes Back. No, Mighty Ducks 2 is the perfect movie.
It's got the hockey. It's got, and again, this is coming from somebody who is from Minnesota and the United States, but it's kind of like the feel good U.S. wins, yada yada, which is obviously different around the world. Kind of the hoorah rah, or if you're wondering, it's exactly the Miracle on Ice team. It's almost the exact tournament. They just did it with kids and the Mighty Ducks. So if you knew kind of that history, you'd know exactly what was going to happen. But it didn't really matter. It was still fun.
And the Team USA thing, actually, I was into it, even being like from the UK. I love all of the Team USA. I mean, we'll talk about those jerseys when we get there, but my favorite jerseys of the whole franchise is easily that USA jersey and the Hawks jersey. I mean, coincidentally, the two that are behind me, but I just think, how strange. Who would have thought? But the Hawks jerseys have got to be the best. I mean, I had to have the Hawks one framed outwards because I needed that logo. Like, I mean, like where, and it's like part of this Goldberg one. I mean, we'll talk about it, but it's like a shame. I wish that I could have seen both sides of it, but there you go. Sorry. Yeah. But yeah, sorry. Go on. My bad.
No, you're good. Second one is, and this is kind of a more obscure one. but this is technically what D1 and D2. Just in the flashback with Gordon Bombay when he is playing for the Hawks. Those Hawks jerseys, the old, 1972 or whatever year that was, those ones are sick. But this is the team they're playing, and coincidentally is where I'm from and where I went to high school. So it was kind of like a fun thing of this is literally the high school I went to, but this is the team they play. It's not the goalie jersey, it's just some random kid. But I always thought they were cool just because of that. And then obviously means a little bit more because of where I'm from.
Wait, can we just see the back of that one? Sorry.
Oh yeah. And I think the Hawks and the Ducks were the only ones with names on the back. For some of them, I think the Cardinals were one team that did in D1 as well. But most of the ones they didn't have last names. But they probably ran out of generic names to put on, so they're just like, don't worry about it.
Yeah.
He's just number 4.
Yeah. That's Averman's number. So.
Yeah, Averman went to East. Okay, so sadly that is the extent. Besides, as you see, the Goldberg OG D5 jersey, which is very high on the, we'll say that's pretty pinnacle. Besides maybe a Hooters D5 jersey, but original. And Goldberg was one of the few. I think Guy Germain, maybe one other one had like a jersey actually, and then they wrote in like Sharpie D5 and the name on it. Like Averman had a cardigan, and then I think what was it? So Jesse Hall had a sweatshirt, Wisconsin sweatshirt or something. So some of them aren't even jerseys; they're just like weird pieces of clothing that have a number on them. But that one is a Flyers jersey, which is really cool, and very crude writing of Goldberg on the back.
That's probably one of the rarest jerseys I've ever seen. Like, as in from the Mighty Ducks. I mean, like, as in that is literally one of a kind. It's not like even you couldn't even replicate it. I mean, you could try and replicate it, but I mean, I know from screen matching that one that it's like, have you done it yet? Have you done the freeze frame?
On that one? Yeah, and the cool part is you obviously know, and for the folks in the audience, as you can tell, I got these two from Simon himself, as they match exactly his once in the background. Part of the reason how we kind of have connected and kept the conversation going. But yeah, I actually spoke to the stunt double just randomly of Goldberg, and I asked him if he had one because I was curious, and he said no, he didn't have one of those. So like, oh well, then it has to be one of one, I suppose. But and I don't know if the person that I talked with would watch something like this, but I did track down, and the reason I said it was Guy Germain. I did track down his original D5 jersey, and I know who has it, but he seems like a genuine collector and likes to do that stuff too. So, but like you said before, I kind of like to track them down. That's kind of the fun part. Accumulating them is also fun, but I know it's out there. I sort of know where it is, but never know what's going to happen.
Was he not into selling it?
Probably not, but I wouldn't be either. So that's very understandable.
You're not into buying it, you mean, or you wouldn't be into selling it if you had it?
If I had it, I probably wouldn't sell it either. So
yeah. I mean, there's quite often I go for like little walks in the rain, but looking at my feet, thinking, why did I sell that Goldberg D5 jersey?
Well, you at least know that it's going to be here or nowhere. So
no,
or here or at your place, I guess, right? But,
I'm glad that you have it. I think it belongs to, it should be there with its friends. So, but I honestly think that one is pretty hard to top. Like I mean, even Justin commented on that one, just like, wow, that you've got. Yeah, I think that one's crazy. It's awesome.
I think so too. But part of the reason, and what we've talked about, I can spill the beans here, that I'm wearing this jersey for the last time. So now you'll have a USA one to wear. I really like them in the frames, obviously, especially how you did it. They look so nice. But there's something about it, just like wearing a jersey, even if it's just me, like talking to my computer and you, it's just kind of fun. So that piece I do like, not having to worry of, hey, you're wearing something that's, expensive and or really rare. And I guess all of these are sort of rare, I guess. Um, but just being able to wear it and not worry about it is also kind of fun.
Well, I am incredibly, incredibly grateful to you. It's yeah, incredibly kind, and for sure, uh, made my day when we had that conversation, week, month, whatever. And yeah, it's awesome. So yeah, thank you. I can't wait. Cannot wait. I
Yeah,
mean, I
and
think this is kind of our jam. I think we're just going to be exchanging things across the Atlantic for many years to come.
it's sort of become that, which is fun. I also, maybe it sounds a little odd for me to say this because I have a ton of jerseys behind me, but I've gotten to the point where I don't want to be like greedy with it, and I have like my little goal I sort of made up, um, but sort of that, if other people collect, it's kind of like you help them too, and that's all a part of it. I sort of enjoyed, and especially now, meeting people through this process, and I would never have met otherwise. So I'm happy with that, and grateful for what that's brought.
Yeah, you've always been great with that, like the pay it forward mantra. And yeah, I love that. And I mean, there's been things where it's enabled other props and other things into my collection. Like, I know we'll get to it, but like the Averman, for example, like that was kind of like a trade-off, because me selling that one to you enabled me to like get this jacket, which is here coincidentally because I just got it back from the dry
Oh,
clean.
weird. It's always like right at arm's length.
Do you know, because I don't know what to do with it. I mean, so for anyone that doesn't know, or if you're interested or not, but this is a jacket that's from One Tree Hill, but it's from Dan Scott, who's the antagonist. But what's funny about this is from a dream sequence episode. They do like an episode where someone's in like a coma, and they have a whole dream sequence where the whole world is mixed around, and he becomes a coach in it. So it's kind of like an iconic episode in a way. And I was lucky to get this from the actual actor when he was on our podcast, and then it was all for good things, because the money raised was going to charity. And I was like, well, I really want that jacket. And I messaged you, and we had it all sorted within like 2 minutes. And it was kind of, yeah, it all circulates. I love it.
Yeah, that one worked out. I can't say I was like ready for it, but I got ready pretty quick.
Well, let's move on to D2. So what have you got from
All
D2?
right. Well, you see the one I'm wearing. I did look, and I've told you this, Simon. It's not the one. So if you watch it on like Disney Plus, she is wearing Gaffney. This is a Gaffney. She is wearing a USA jersey like in the promo, and unfortunately, it's not this one. But I think the cool part about this, and I think I screen matched it to a couple scenes, just on the bench, because she never plays in this jersey, so it's technically not game used if you want to get that technical. But the good part about it is it's like almost like they just made it. Like it's still super nice, and I'll show you the Jesse Hall one I have. There's like sweat stains on it, which is kind of gross, but also it's like whatever. But this one is like pristine, looks super nice, and is not as gross, which is cool. So you'll see me turn my back and grab a couple of these so you can see that one. But
Well, firstly, the jerseys are so dope. The Mighty Ducks fan page, which I have to shout out because it is the greatest fan page on Instagram. I put the links below. I think it's called the Mighty Ducks fan page, but if in case I'm butchering it, the exact link will be below. And they posted a picture of Gaffney, with the actress playing Gaffney, and you were able, and you actually said you saw that picture and then you were able to screen match it to that one. I think it's one where, like you said, she's on the
Yeah,
bench.
yeah.
I think it's when Bombay comes back, doesn't he? When, like,
It's when they almost forfeit.
yeah, I've forgotten
Yeah, yeah,
Coach McKay, where
yeah.
McKay comes in, yeah, and they sort of look up to him in the stands, isn't it? And so it's just it's cool that it got, even if it only got like 2 seconds of screen time, that's still awesome.
Yeah, and that was when Coach McKay was say, "Hey, what are we waiting for? The ice to freeze? Let's play." Just
They look
laugh.
tired. We need more players.
Yeah, that's great stuff. Great stuff. So we can sort of start. This is the kind of the OG. This is the first jerseys that were purchased. So I have two brothers, and it was kind of like what we talked about, like Three Ninjas. Three Ninjas was sweet because it was like all three of us, right? We all, for the most part, really liked the Mighty Ducks in D2. So for Christmas in Christmas in 2009 or 2010, I don't think I'll ever top this as a Christmas present, but I bought us all Iceland jerseys when they were all, on the big eBay dump. But these are the first ones I bought. I still think I sort of gloss over it now as not like a top jersey, but it really should be still, because their logo is sweet, and kind of the detail on it. It's like a little bit more like shiny metallic that you can't really see. And I heard his face has the islands of Iceland. I didn't check Google to make sure that was true, but I believe it. It's close enough, right?
That
And
makes sense. Yeah, that's cool.
these are the Icelandic names that, oddly enough, like I knew hockey players that had this last name that were just from where I'm from. So they just grabbed a bunch of hockey names and threw them on there. But this was the one that I had because I was in the middle. I was the number 12. I think my little brother has his in Duluth, and I still have my older brothers here, 22. And this one I think is seen kind of a lot. I think he scores a couple times. These ones are harder to screen match. You probably could do it. I haven't because it doesn't really matter as much to me. But for these ones, I don't think they probably had too many. Just stunt doubles. They probably just had they were the stunt double. So these jerseys I think are, they're definitely up there. And I found a handful since that point, but haven't actually seen them in person.
They're kind of like they're really similar to the Hawks ones, aren't they? I mean, they're exact same colors and kind of like the same design.
Every bad team has to be black, so then kids can understand, so that they don't have to be confused as to who the good guy is.
Yeah, well, that's what I was saying in my pitch for how we would have written it, that I would have wanted the Ducks to be the antagonists like they are in Game Changers, but for it to be black jerseys, like in this kind of colorway, but with that original duck on, from the first movie. Mm-hmm. That would look so dope. That has to be made. Someone please make that on an Etsy store or something, and let's make this happen.
I mean, technically they're like dark purple. Like they're definitely darker because the other ones were white. So they may have tried to do that.
Yeah.
So, and then this is I got very shortly after all the Iceland jerseys. This is Jesse Hall's Flying V jersey. We've talked about this sort of ad nauseum, but it is kind of fun to pretend like I'm an expert at some little goofy things. But how you can tell is the stars. Some of them are easier to identify, like they're really crooked. Like that one kind of is a little bit more easy to identify. His are like perfectly like aligned, like that one. And then the ones in the back, you're able to see a little bit better. But I think this one's used in like every game except the first time they play Iceland, which is kind of cool. And he's the Flying V, so I thought that was always fun. And Jesse Hall was one of my, we'll say, more favorite players on the Ducks. I always thought he was really cool.
classic. Yeah, he's one of the best. He's like, and he's got iconic lines and all kind, Cake Eater, Flying V. Always reluctant. He's always reluctant to do the Flying V, isn't he? Like, he never wants to do it.
I think he, well, it was hard for him to really trust others. And when he finally did, then he was able to really accomplish all. But he was reluctant at first, and maybe he had reason to. I don't know.
I mean, his brother disappears in the second movie.
I had some family stuff going on, so I can't fault him.
Do you know, just on the star thing again, is the two that are on the back are like, I've always found the most easiest one. So like on this Goldberg one, yeah, like on this Goldberg one, for example, I've seen from you sent it to me on Instagram, the guy that has the other Goldberg, and the stars. Do you see how the one on
one's like perfectly flat and the other one is at axis?
Yeah, and what's funny is on the other one, they're flipped over. So the point that's pointing to the G is onto the G at the beginning rather than the G at the end. So it's really easy to tell the difference between the two. And I was really lucky because this one, not only does it still have the Hendrix patch on it, but it also was the one that was used in both the Iceland games, and the other one was used in against Italy and maybe Trinidad. I'm not sure if we see Goldberg in that one, but yeah, it's awesome. I love those little like nerdy details as well. It makes me feel like I know something like that not many people know. But then
it's
how often, it's fun, but how often can you use that knowledge in like real life? Well, on podcasts like this, I guess. So it's all good.
I mean, every once in a while you can spice it up. But yeah, those ones were again kind of the first how I started collecting. What now? 12 years ago, which is kind of wild. But I always really liked to, and I think I was looking for like 3 years before they, sort of popped up. So I was very unsuccessful for a very long time, and then I finally found them, and we went from there. This is actually has become, and oddly enough, the hat I'm wearing is a Waves hat, FYI. But the Waves jersey was always one that I really liked. For those of you that don't know, this is the team that Gordon Bombay played for, and when he got his knee hacked against the boards against the Madison Wings, a jersey I do not have that I have attempted to get a couple times, but so far unsuccessful. This jersey, Rickard is one of the guys who skates up to Gordon after he is hurt, and kind of like stands there like, hey, you need help, doesn't really do anything, but is right there just to, be a supportive teammate. The colorway is a little interesting on these, but I think is pretty sweet.
It's like a standout one.
I think this was kind of the same time too that I got the other ones. So it's kind of nothing for a very long time, and then like all at once. And at this point, I was 18, 19. So I didn't have a lot of money. So this was like a huge splurge. I'm glad I kind of did. I mowed a lot of lawns to be able to do that, I guess. I wish I mowed more lawns so I could have gotten some other big names, but then it wouldn't be fun now to look for them. If you already had them, then I'd have been done for a while, and then what am I going to do, right?
Exactly. It's got to be challenging. That one's really cool. I think the detail on all of these jerseys are so good. The quality is so cool. But that one's really recognizable as well. And like you've got that hat there. There's loads of like t-shirts and things that like memorabilia that places do. So yeah, that's definitely like a fan favorite.
Yeah, that one is I'd say is up there in my top ones too. What I've really enjoyed now is kind of the international ones. I found most of them, and I know they exist, but I still am missing a handful, which keeps the search going. This is one of the Germany ones. As you can see, both of the Ds of Deutschland are missing, which I have found is very common, apparently. Like this, I've seen like 4 or 5 jerseys that those letters fell off. I don't know why. But these jerseys, they're super cool, and like the logo of that. I have another one over there that I'll show you with the patches and stuff, but like the line through it, I thought was always super cool. And the D2 jerseys are all CCM, so they're made super well. Hooter Sportswear does for the most part, the first movie and the third movie, with some exceptions. But the CCM jerseys are sweet, and it is a little bit easier to identify that they're legit, which is also kind of important, I suppose. But this one I really have come to enjoy.
Yeah, that's cool. And that's funny that the D's are missing. I like to think that there's like a box somewhere where there's just all of the D's from the German jerseys and all of the Hendrix patches just in one box in a warehouse.
They're somewhere, because they didn't throw those away. Those, I guess the little D could have fallen off anywhere, I guess. But the Hendrix, they had to have taken those off purposefully. So there is a box of those somewhere.
Could you imagine if they're on eBay one day, there's a box of 50 Hendrix patches, and then you could go and we could like, sell them or give them to the people. We'll just give them depends how much they cost. Okay. If it's like, $1,000 for the Hendrix patches, then people have to reimburse for their patch. But if it's like,
then I would just direct them like, here it is. You can buy it if you want.
yeah.
We'll do what we can. All in good time.
That could be a movie plot. Reuniting the Hendrix patches with the USA jerseys.
Right. Like we've talked about before, besides the USA, this was the jersey I was after like my entire life. So from the beginning, this is always what I wanted to do and wanted to get. In hindsight, so I've had the same email my whole life, so I could go back like 15 years and like, Connor, what were you thinking? What were you doing? And I think I turned down like an original D5 Hooter jersey, a Mighty Ducks CCM jersey, which oddly enough, I think is that jersey that I bought from you 12 years later.
Oh, wow.
And I think maybe like a starter. So it'd be a D3 Ducks jersey. All of those, I was like, nope, not interested. I want a Trinidad. Like, that's all I want. And I read that like 6 months ago, just because I thought it was funny to look back. And I was like, well, I like my commitment to it, but I probably could have, gotten some of those too. But nonetheless, here we are.
Sorry, did you say because you've had the same email for the whole year? Is that what you said? You've had the same email for all of
the email address. So I can search back and find. Right. I'm almost certain I almost bought that Averman jersey like 12 years ago. Obviously didn't. Flew around the world a couple times, and now I have it. A little bit more expensive now than it would have been, but neither here nor there. But what that did find me is this jersey. The only gripe I have about it is that over time the blue has kind of faded a little bit. Before, when it was blue, it's like, oh, it looks so sick. It still looks really, really cool. But that's the only piece. It's humongous. Like, it's one of the biggest jerseys I have. And it's just like a normal player. So I don't know if everyone on Trinidad was like 6'5" and like 250, but it's just humongous. And I don't know what kind of bird that is. Whatever bird it is, I've always loved that logo. And this is sort of like the pinnacle. Definitely has been. I've seen the actual pinnacle. Another collector has it. He has the guy who scores the goal, number 9. That's probably like the pinnacle, but this is close, I guess.
That's also my dream jersey as well, for all the same reasons. It's just so cool, and I love how the color changes on that bird as well, like when it flips over to the next panel. That's just so cool. I mean, and we said this on when we did our episode last time, that there's a website called Worth Point where it kind of documents all online auctions for eBay and all kinds of other things, and you can see on there the history, and you can see the Trinidad and Tobago jerseys that have been sold for like $50 or something, and crazy, and that now they would be worth so much more.
Yeah, I said I wore that to a Minnesota Wild, handful of those games. Minnesota Gophers. That's where I went to college, and someone always recognizes that jersey. I'd say any jersey you wear, someone will recognize it there. But that one especially, that's an iconic one. Like I told you, I wore just a Trinidad and Tobago hockey sweatshirt, and some 56-year-old guy in my neighborhood gave me a nod and said, "Hey, I like your sweatshirt." So it's still common knowledge apparently around here.
Wait, just while we're on Trinidad and Tobago, can you show the hat? Just in case people don't know, it's called Celly Hockey, CELLY, doing these dope Trinidad Tobago hats and sweatshirts and everything. Can we see the back of it? Sorry.
Yeah, the back is just the straight, but it's very clean. Just a solid clean hat. And are we sponsored by them yet? Not yet.
We
Okay.
should be. We should be.
And then so this is with the USA jersey. This, and I might as well just toss it in. Also in Simon's American Care Package is the Hendrix hat with a little Goodwill Games logo on there, and a Hendrix hockey.
No way. Is that what it is on the side? The Goodwill Games logo on the side.
Yeah, can you see it?
Oh, that's dope. That's even
Yeah,
better.
It's pretty sweet hat.
The Hendrix logo. Firstly thank you. I mean, I've expressed this privately, but publicly, thank you. But there's something about the Hendrix logo, and there's something about that whole Hendrix element of D2 that I love so much. I just love that hat. I love the logo. I can't wait. I wasn't sure if I was worth mentioning this because I know we're talking about your props, but I'm actually in the process of getting these two reframed. So with the same framing, I know this sounds ridiculous, doesn't it? But in the same framing, but there's always been a couple things that have bothered me about them. So these are the only two jerseys I have left, by the way, people. Just FYI. And I've got the tracksuit as well, but that's I sort of, my idea is to wear that before a basketball game one time to warm up wearing it, and just because I think it would be fun. Really pray that I don't like rip it like going up for a layup or something. But there's two things that have bothered me about how these have been displayed, and one is that the Hendrix patch, I specifically said it has to be shown, like I need it to be shown, but it catches the H off. I want that clearer. But also I don't like that on this one it's got the Anaheim Ducks logo on it, so I'm having that changed to have the D2 Ducks the D2 title logo on there.
Yeah.
And then also the Hawks one, it's like black on black, so I'm changing the colors. So the Hawks one is going to have a white outline, like the border will be white, and then behind the actual jerseys, you see on like this one where it's like got red behind it, the Hawks one was going to have the blue behind it and then the white on the outside, so it'll kind of make it stick out more. And then they
look so sweet.
They're about to look even sweeter. Just wait, you'll see. I'm having the colors changed on the gold one as well. The only bad part is like because of COVID, it's like a 5-week turnaround. There'll be like
it takes a while.
Weeks where they'll be gone. But
as long as you get it back, maybe I'll have this in that time. So who knows?
my wife's favorite frame job of all of these was actually on that Averman one.
Yeah, the Averman is really nice. And then the Ducks logo obviously looks sweet on that. And then the pictures. I'll bring that closer here in a little bit. So one of the last ones, which is another Gaffney jersey. This was a kind of a random one-off that I found just on the internet. And this is Julie Gaffney's Bangor Maine when they're introduced with all the players. I think I've found out where the South Miami, I don't know if you remember that one, the South Miami for Luis Mendoza. That is so nasty. That jersey would be so sick. But this one, I'm happy to have found any of them. But this one with Gaffney's name in the back also is a Hooter jersey,
Mm.
which again, some in D2 or the CCMs. But this jersey is also very recognizable, which is really cool. It's not like the other ones with like sweet patches and stuff. So you have to be a little bit more careful, I guess, but still sick nonetheless.
Yeah, that one's awesome for sure. They're all awesome. There's not going to be one you're going to pull out, and I'm going to be like, oh, that one sucks.
Yeah. And then for your sake, I'll bring this closer, or maybe for everybody else's sake.
Yeah,
So this is probably the coolest one from D2, which is at the third period. I got a ring light thing. At the third period, when they changed jerseys, it's obviously Averman, and it is Simon's frame job, which includes a very nice, got that thing again, very nice pictures, logos, got a little writing there. This is probably the sweetest jersey I have, I think. But, just my opinion.
Yeah. I mean, if you was to have framed it, would you have wanted it framed with the front showing, or would you have chosen to have the back? Because that was a real big thing. I really didn't know what to do with it.
No, that's a good question. I don't know. I'm glad I didn't have to choose, because then it's just, that's how it is. So that's fine. I definitely wouldn't change it either way. But the front, it could be, I mean, you can just get a normal, Ducks jersey that costs $60 or whatever. And that could be the front of it. But this is then you kind of know, and the patches on the bottom, it's actually just like a normal NHL CCM jersey, which makes it harder to authenticate those ones. But if you can see that, then it's obviously a lot easier to sort of look at it. But and then here's the last Germany jersey. These ones,
the D's on it.
The D's are still intact, and actually this has like a Germany patch on the side.
Oh, that's dope.
Which is pretty cool.
Did the one you sold at Aaron, did that one have the D's on it as well?
No, they fell off, except one of the guys who I bought it from, who is a seemingly very hockey-loving Canadian, he fixed it. So it looked like totally legit. You could not tell. He, like Tackle Twill or whatever, bought black. He outlined it. You can see where it was. It's not like you wouldn't know how big to make it, but he made it. And I actually asked him for that other one to see how skilled I am in sewing and whatnot. We'll see about that. But he told me how to do it, so I might give it a try.
Nice.
We'll see.
Excellent. Document it on Instagram. We want to see.
Yeah, that might be a disaster, but how bad could it be, right? How bad could I screw it up?
Yeah.
We'll find out. So that's D2. I've found a couple Russias. I know there are Italy's bouncing around.
Is that the only? Are they the only teams that you've got missing?
That's a good question.
This is what I'm expecting to be on the spreadsheet. Is to like.
Yeah, well, it's on the spreadsheet. So it's Russia, Italy. I don't have the D5 CCM Ducks jerseys. So they're like, when they're bigger, they have like Charlie when he's wearing when he gets the gang back together.
Mm-hmm.
Those jerseys, and then they also wear that to like their first practice against the new kids. So obviously it's not attainable to get the Morgan Park, South Miami, the Crockett for Robertson, and then Kenny Wu had like a Coca-Cola Futures jersey, which was random, but why not? There's no way that's going to happen. So I'll just stick with D5, Ducks, CCM, Russia, Italy. I think that's it.
I think
possible.
I think you could consider that the Bangor Maine one, that kind of like you could.
That's the new team.
Yeah, that
I might have to.
I'm ready. I think to buy my first, like replica jersey, because I think I want a Conway D5. The green D5.
Mhm.
jersey. I want one. I mean, from your expert knowledge, where would be the best replica? Because do they actually sell them on the NHL like website?
No, honestly, the ones, and this is funny, because by the time, well, no, he won't have it. I'll have it by that point. I just bought Aaron a Bombay D5 replica,
Hmm.
which is it's actually really really nice. So buying a new replica, it's kind of like I don't know, it's a crapshoot. But I think it's better to look to buy somebody's that was made like 12 years ago because I bought a replica in like 2008 2009, and they're just a little bit better. They're stitched really well, and it's kind of like this jersey actually, where it's like got the background of it, where some is just kind of flat, but the ones they made again around that time for whatever reason just were like a little bit better. And I almost freaked out because I thought it was the movie jersey of Bombay which is number 99
Yeah.
when he gets everybody their jerseys. It was not, unfortunately, but it is still a cool replica. So we're sending that overseas as well. But I would say well, I'll look for you as well, but to look at some that have already been made, because again, it's sort of like you just cross your fingers, hope for the best if you have them make one now. And there's enough floating around.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, it's just like they don't. It's so hard to tell over the internet. I mean, there's even sites that I've seen that sell replicas, and they use pictures of like jerseys that you actually have sat behind you, or of pictures of the actual jerseys.
Yeah, I found there's another collector. His name is Ben. He's like he really has the best collection there is. But there are websites that use the exact pictures that he has posted. So it's not even like they
Yeah,
change it. It's like they
yeah,
cut and paste to what he has. I think I've seen that on one of the jerseys I have was from like my Instagram, and it's just like that's it. They took
that's
that,
crazy.
and it's kind of well. I hope nobody gets ripped off, but yeah, but hopefully they make it that good. That would be sweet, but
Wait,
probably
what?
not.
What does Ben have? What in his collection?
I think he had kind of the same. It's I think like GameUsedHockey.com. It's super cool. I've
Oh,
talked to him a
that's
handful of
him.
times. Yeah, yeah. He seems to be like a solid guy. He where I was the unique, obscure, just one jersey of everybody. He was like grab the biggest and best, and that's like the representative, and it's so cool. So we'll see. He's thrown a couple random leads my way of ones that he had a long time ago that he just was like, see what you can do. And one of them, which I thought was really funny, and what we were talking to Justin about, and he showed us. Well, I don't want to spill the beans, but I'll say uh, the Wheaties box.
Hmm.
This Ben had a lead of where the big one is.
No way.
Yeah, it was from a long time ago, like several years ago now, and then it just went cold, and then he lost contact with that person. But that's what he was trying to find, and I think it's actually not too far from where I live, because obviously most of the stuff was here filmed. But that would be a very random one-off. That would be hilarious to have. We'll see.
That would be awesome. That would be so good. And the other one that I was thing that I often think I've never seen anywhere, which would be amazing. Maybe because Emilio just got to keep them, but is his jackets. Like the actual the D5, not D5, the Ducks, the D, not when they're
Mhm,
the D5 Ducks
mhm.
jacket, and then obviously
Yeah,
and the
yeah.
USA jacket, and then I called it the Anaheim Ducks jacket or the Anaheim
Mhm.
Ducks logo. Which the older I get, the more discouraged I am of that. That's part of the reason I want to change it is because I'm more cynical now, and I'm like, yeah, they were selling us on an NHL team. Like as in, I love that moment where they flip the jerseys, but to
Mhm.
me, Ducks is the original, green Ducks jerseys because, and I'm glad that that's what I know that they would have done that in game spoilers for Game Changers, but that they switched the jerseys in the last episode to the green ones. I know that they wouldn't have been able to use the original logo because they don't own the team anymore, but I'm glad because that's quintessential to the Ducks. I mean, what do you think?
It was a better reference too. I like the D5 Ducks. I mean, it's kind of like, it is like a really ugly logo. Like it's not like really cool or neat or like sexy. But that's kind of the whole point. Is like it's just this like weird looking duck, and the colors are kind of like really loud. But yeah, that's their jersey. The Anaheim Ducks is like that logo is more corporate, really sleek, cool. But that is sort of a different, kind of a different audience than the good old D5.
Yeah, well, I think I agree, but I think like what the difference is you could walk out in the street right now and someone could be wearing an Anaheim Ducks hoodie or something, right, with that old logo on it, and they're not necessarily relating it to the movie. Like, it could be that they're just
right.
a fan or a fan.
I mean, most wouldn't. I would think.
Right, it's just that's a hockey thing for that team. Where if you went out and saw someone with the D5 Duck logo, that is the Mighty Ducks. It's like unmistakable. Or so I think, yeah. Sorry, I've really gone off track here, but I definitely want to get a replica, and I think you said so. I mean, there's jackets as well, right? There's production and crew cast jackets where it's like the Letterman leather, like this sort of style jackets, which you sent me recently, the D3 one, which I just had dry cleaned. It's up in my closet, pride of place, ready to be worn. But there's ones from the first movie, right? Have you ever seen one of them like on the market?
Yeah, I actually, which was kind of funny. I never really tried to collect the crew jackets. Like, I didn't even think about it. But then a couple kind of fell in my lap, and now they're really cool. And the D3 is very, very cool. And I was talking to Aaron about this as well. The D2 jacket is definitely the ugliest and kind of the most lame. And it's a paradox because the movie is the best by far, but the jacket's kind of like just like a normal jacket. D3 is really cool. And I've seen a couple just posted online of the D1 jacket, and that one looks more like just Gordon Bombay's like jacket, which is really cool. I've seen a couple of those, haven't seen any in person. I did, which I didn't find originally, Aaron did, but I just messaged the guy who he pointed me to, and he said, I don't know if you guys have Goodwills in England. It's basically like a thrift store.
Yeah.
But there is the thrift store piece, and then there is what's called the Goodwill bins. It's like they don't even organize it. It's like they literally throw a bunch of stuff in a bin, and you, like, whoever finds it grabs it, and they pay like by the weight. So it's not like it's on a hanger. It costs $20. I'm sure it cost him like $1 maybe, but he said he found it in the bins, was a crew jacket from D1.
That's
and
crazy.
Yeah, it's like, and I'm sure from some crew member that was from around here just donated it and thought it would be a cool thing to donate, which it absolutely is. I don't know how it ended up there and not sold for probably like at a thrift store you get $50 for that for sure. So and then you could sell it for a lot more than that probably.
That's
but
crazy.
I've never seen one in person.
That's really cool though. It like gives you reason to like be like, okay, I want to go to the charity shop just in case.
Yeah. You never know what you could find, and so we'll see. I'll have to keep my eyes peeled for that. The jackets are upstairs. That's another time. We got enough to go through.
Yeah, for sure. We can do a separate episode on jackets and hats, I'm sure.
Yeah, why not?
So moving on to D3, the final
D3
of the
and this was one I had to sort of convinced myself to start collecting from this movie because it was like, I don't know, it was whatever. But then when I watched it as an adult, and now that I appreciate kind of the jersey part of it too, more so than anything, um, love it. Love it. I almost like it more, the jerseys in D3 than D1. I know that sounds kind of sacrilegious, but that's pretty close. So
I still find the jerseys D3 in general to be new. It's like new to me because I've seen it probably like 6-7 times where I've seen like D1 and D2. No joke. I must have seen both of them like 40-50 times.
yeah, I would say probably like 50 times for me. And D1 probably less than that, maybe like 30 some, and then probably less than 10 of D3 for sure. But we had D2 on VHS, so we just like you pop that in, watch it. So here is just a practice jersey. This is Luis Mendoza's. I shouldn't say it's nothing special because it's very, very cool. But this, what I do like about the varsity ones, which I do not have, they have like a patch on it of like Minnesota State champions. This just has the JV. So cool. And it does say Luis double on it. So could be his that is worn, but that doesn't really matter to me. It's kind of just the jersey itself.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Missed one. Here's another Duluth East jersey from D2 and or D1.
Oh, you have two. That's cool.
Yeah, it's one of them is actually my little brother's. I just have it because I have a lot of them. But so this one I recently bought, and this is one of the editions from the first. We'll say our first rendition. This one's new from there, and actually a lot of these are new from there. So keep your eyes peeled if you saw that one and you haven't seen anything new yet. This one is obviously just the Warriors JV jersey. The kicker is that it is Adam Banks. And this one is not, we'll say movie used and or game used because he never played for the JV team. And when he did, they did not wear these jerseys. He got elevated to varsity, as we know. Which is not his fault. We can't fault him for doing his best and making the team. I don't know why Charlie was so mean to him. It's not like he did that on purpose.
Jealousy.
Neither here nor there.
It was mixed emotions, you know. Everything was changing. Yeah. It was a transitional time. We've all acted out, Connor. We all had those times as adolescents.
you just lashed out and acted out,
yeah.
Although I will say, which is actually, we'll say, forward-thinking from the movie itself. I forget the girl's name that Charlie was kind of macking on a little bit. She had the petition to change the name from the Warriors. I do sort of, let's say, empathize that it can be like a little racially insensitive. I think this is like really cool and like a very strong logo, and say. It was 90s though, so they had their moments. But I think it's really, really cool. More of, again, a strength, not of just being a mascot. But times have changed, as we know. Yeah, but I do think it's very cool.
Totally agree. I mean, the intent behind it is not to be racist. You know, I assume that's not what the intent was to be. I mean, on the jacket that I got from you, it has that patch on the side, and I was actually considering taking the patch off or putting a different patch over it or something, because I don't feel comfortable really with that. I mean, I know that it's from the time and so on and so forth, but you know, things, like people are there is an awareness that we all have now.
And to be fair, they did end up changing their name, as we know. So
they did it in the movie. They abolished it in the movie. So
and what was that, 96, right? So
not
too bad.
Yeah.
Similar. We have another bigger jersey again for JV. This is Julia the Cat Gaffney. This one is, I think, a little bit more cool because she was the star of the show in D3, where she beat out Goldberg for the starting job. So that one maybe has a little bit more use because she wasn't riding the bench the whole time, which I'm sure Goldberg was not happy about.
He was feeding her up, right?
Yeah, yeah, it was. That was a very '90s thing to do as well. This jersey I thought was really random, but I think is really cool. Is the Blake Bears is the team that they blow the 9-goal lead because they can't play defense. That's why they need to learn. This one again, like I said, these are Hooter jerseys, which is pretty cool, and that's a local company in Blaine, Minnesota, not too far from me. The logo on it, I'll give like a B, but the colors are sweet, and it's just kind of a cool jersey in general.
Yeah,
that's just a random player, but that's all I need, you know.
You just need an entry point to the team.
Yeah, that's right. And then this one is very random. This is the first practice. Yeah, first practice where Coach Ryan kind of lays down the hammer. Tells him who's boss. This is Fulton Reed's practice jersey, which has a bunch of like motorcycle patches, like Harley Davidson, just like super like tough guy, and big Harley Davidson patch, which is whatever. It's cool. And then it's a Custom Heaton, which I think is a Canadian company. But yeah, very, very random practice jersey, kind of like the Gaffney one, except this isn't as recognizable. I like when you can sort of see it right away and then you know what it is. But that one I couldn't pass up because I didn't have anything from Fulton Reed. So
no, that's
beggars
cool.
can't be choosers, as they say.
I like the idea of that. He's like this big tough guy that at night he takes time to just stitch on these little additional patches.
Yeah, it's a useful skill, so I can't knock him for that.
Yeah, no, that's really cool.
And
he's he's like one of the iconic characters as well that goes through all 3 movies as well. So yeah, that's really cool.
Yeah, it's not an official goal, but I think maybe now it would be cool to have one or some of the characters that you kind of like. I don't think it'd be attainable to get one of each character, but you could try, I guess. We'll find out.
Well, you've got a Banks, and that's crazy. I think I think they're like the holy grail ones. Well, they're like him and a Conway, and like we were saying earlier, as much as I would identify as a Conway, Banks was my favorite player, like because he's the best, Yeah,
he was the best is the best, but it takes heart sometimes too. So I don't know if you remember. The last was maybe a couple weeks ago. I said that I'd unveil 2 jerseys that I bought. I haven't posted any for the 100 people that enjoy what I do.
it's
I haven't posted purposely, and I'll wait until this airs to show. But I will show you them now.
Exclusive, mad props.
Exclusive. So this. We've seen this before, but it is Averman.
Hey,
and this was one, I bought these both together. So I kind of, like I sort of said before at the beginning, kind of the point now where, like if I can kind of find them and I know people that will also enjoy them, this one I think already has somebody who may be receiving it. It's just like kind of a no-brainer. It's like, yep, I'll buy both of them. Done, and then I'll pass this one along to someone who will really like it. They know who they are, but that one was I think really cool. And Averman, he's a character that maybe now because I've interacted with the actor, something that I think is really cool and tough to beat the Ducks jersey, but that jersey was pretty sweet.
That's awesome, and that's so cool of you, man, to like pass these on to people and to do that. Like your kindness cannot be understated for sure.
And I won't name drop, them, but they'll know. But this one was one I didn't have, which was again bought it from the same person. I gave them a little bit more money than they were asking for because I told them that I will appreciate it. So I'll just be frank with you. But this is a Riley jersey, the varsity, as you know, he was a captain. And the thing I really like about the varsity jerseys, sort of after the fact, they have the Minnesota State Champs patch, which is sweet. I got the Eden Hall, um, and I like the black jerseys, as we talked about.
Yeah.
All the bad guys have black, even though it's a little odd that the varsity and JV or that, I don't know, they don't like each other that much. It's like you go to the same school,
Yeah.
you guys want each other to do well, but neither here nor there.
The colors on that one are awesome. Like the black to the yellow to the red. That's really cool. And to have a jersey, to have a captain jersey, that's so cool.
Yeah, and him being one of we'll say the main characters, and Cole was kind of the other one. I thought was really cool, and I really like. I think JV got kind of even though like the jersey itself is pretty similar, JV definitely got the shaft on that one. These ones look exponentially cooler than their jerseys. So
yeah, for sure.
Yeah, when they're older, though. Well, not when they're older because they end up being the Ducks, so they'll never wear those.
That's awesome. So cool. So cool. So I mean, what a collection. Amazing. So what do you have anything in the pipeline? Like what have you got any leads you're working on? Not you don't have to say what they're for, but are you close to any sealing anything else?
Again, it's sort of funny because my job is we'll say fairly serious, and it's not like you mess around. So this is kind of like my funny outlet to just have fun and talk to random people and again have a conversation that ends up being something like this after a while. I have tracked down a couple D5 jerseys that would be really cool to have. I don't know if he'll sell them or not, but it's sort of neither here nor there. But those would be sweet, obviously. I've found a couple Russia jerseys. The gentleman does not want to sell them, which is fine. He has two, so it's like so close. But a couple random ones like that where I've sort of just identified where they are. The odd part is, and it's sort of funny because I'm just like this, I don't know, like weird Sherlock Holmes guy who is like, hey, I found out you're this from this and this from this. Do you happen to have this? And some of them are like, yeah, how did you know that? But that's all part of it. It's all fun.
Yeah. Do you ever fear that you've actually missed your calling in life and you were meant to be a detective and like solve all these murders and things, but actually you're using your powers to get Mighty Ducks jerseys?
Well, I think I would lose my kind of happy-go-lucky attitude if I had to use it for something like that, which would be important. Don't get me wrong, but I think I enjoy it partly because like it's so low stakes and it's just for fun. It's I've been able to again just talk to random people who have other stuff that's really interesting. I was just emailing somebody who has like a promo Goldberg helmet that they wore, in one of the scenes, which is like super random, but it's like, oh, that's really cool. Or, other uniforms or breezers or just random stuff, which is somebody's connection to the film, which I clearly can understand and relate to. It's kind of like you're a part of it in some random goofy way, or can live vicariously through it.
Yeah, for sure. I think if you know someone is into these movies, like, really into them, it's like you have this common ground that, yes, the movies are super popular and yes, people love them, but there's levels to this, it's like when you meet people that are on that level, it's like, okay, there's a kingship there. But we can't skip over. Okay, hang on. The D5 jerseys. You're talking literally the green D5 Ducks jerseys from D1, or are you talking like, because they also appear in.
Technically, I'm talking about both D1 and D2. So a Hooter and a CCM.
Okay.
So it's like two separate, but yeah.
And are they? I mean, you don't have to say. Are they big players? Like, as in, are they both questions in but double entendre? Are they big as in physically big, or are they big as in well known as well?
I would say neither. It's just like it's super random. That's also part of what I think is kind of funny with this stuff. At least it's not like they're, well, like the Banks jersey. I think is at like the Hard Rock or Planet Hollywood and Disney. So and like the Bombay's jackets at some museum in Orlando. So there's some stuff that's like unattainable now, but most of it, from my understanding, is kind of like it's just out there, like all over the world, but just out there. And that's kind of the fun part, is it's not like you're going to a store and buying it. It's like it's in some guy or gal's basement, or their closet, or their mom's house, or like something random.
Yeah.
And was this Gaffney jersey was one of them. And uh, I think I was bothering him. I definitely was. But I also was like, hey, I can help you make sure that's legit, yada yada, blah blah blah. And he's like, yeah, okay, just okay, whatever. And eventually, I was talking to him, and he was like, yeah, well, I'm trying to sell some stuff. Like, would you want to buy it? I was
Yes.
like, yeah, of course I want to buy it. And
This is why I'm
this is one
talking
of
to
the
you.
yeah. Well, I was like, you seem like a nice person, but yeah, like that was the whole reason why. Right. But this is where it kind of gets a little hazy, because money is money. But the past couple times, someone's just thrown out a price, and it's like, well, yes, but like I'll pay you a little bit more because I think it's worth more than that. But it's all just, I mean, it's all made up anyway. It's whatever anyone thinks it's worth. But clearly, they are worth more to me because I really like this stuff.
But wait, are you saying that he offered an amount that was low on a D5 jersey?
Oh no, I'm talking about this jersey right now.
Right. Oh,
The
that one
Gaffney jersey.
Yeah.
The D5 jersey, I think they know what they have.
They're throwing out the wild.
If that helps you out.
Yeah. They're throwing out I'll sell this to you and I'll go buy a new car kind of thing.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah, I wouldn't say it wouldn't be like a super nice car, but it could be a car.
It could run. Yeah, it could get them from A to B. Yeah. Well, I feel for the most part, like probably like out of the game with the jerseys, but there's just a couple like that I wouldn't be able to resist. Like I just wouldn't be. I would suddenly be like, okay, I need to go sell blood. I need to go sell a spleen.
Yeah, do something. Yeah.
Yeah, and I think a D5, like a green one, I wouldn't be like. I was so sad that the Adam Banks one went on auction in Calabasas like a couple of years ago,
Mm-hmm.
and it was like that. I mean, it went for a lot of money, sure, but also not as much money as I think it would go if it was put on eBay. Do you know what I mean? Like,
Mm-hmm.
but maybe
But it
Disney
just
bought
didn't.
it.
Yeah.
Maybe Disney
Yeah.
bought it back to put it in a thing, put it in their
Yeah,
museum.
that one, I don't know where that one ended up. I know like the starting bid was like $2,000, which is in reality like a ton of money for a hockey jersey. But the weird part is like game used hockey jerseys, like that's a whole different animal. Like Connor McDavid's jersey for some random game went for like $30,000. Like it's just like silly money. And what I have enjoyed about kind of movie jerseys, and this is again mostly Mighty Ducks, but other random movies that I enjoy. But for the most part, it's like it's attainable. It's not that expensive. It's not cheap, but it's kind of like anyone could do it. And it definitely was the case 10 years ago. Now I think because all the millennials are our age and have jobs and can like, oh yeah, I'll waste some money on that. It's a little bit different now, but for the most part, it's still, in that ballpark, which is kind of fun. Or there's only like 10 people like us that really like them, which, that's cool too, whatever.
Do you reckon that's what it is? There's 10. Are we actually making this YouTube video for 10 people that are actually going to enjoy it like this? That's fine with me. I'm down for it. Like,
yeah, I mean, I can't say, I strive to be an influencer, But there's more people that have like reached out on just like Jersey chasing just to like talk about random stuff, which is always fun to interact. So maybe like 100. There's like 100 of us.
Oh, I mean, even if there wasn't, I mean, the same. I'm not. I do this stuff for not for money, not for any of that stuff or fame. I couldn't think of anything worse than being like famous. But I enjoy having the conversations, And it's like, well, if I enjoy having the conversations, maybe there's someone out there that would enjoy listening to a conversation like this, So yeah,
Yeah, and I think prop collecting too has sort of, I don't know if it's become more popular. I think it was always like kind of popular, but I don't know, maybe the point is that you can sort of do this with any movie that you like, and it can be very obscure. And jerseys for me, I just really enjoy sports jerseys anyway. So it was kind of an easy, like, oh yeah, well, I like these movies, I like jerseys, I like sports, whatever. But sort of doing that with anything is kind of fun. And we've joked about, other movies that we liked, like Little Giants would be like another one that I'd, on a dime, I would figure something out if I could get something from that movie. Like Three Ninjas, another random one that I think we both really like.
Mm-hmm.
But sort of just having that idea of some nostalgia, some, fun, sort of random, but an item can sort of bring that to somebody, which I think is sort of the whole point and why you would anyway. But it sounds so dumb. But like I still, and this will sound super dramatic, but like this jersey, I know I will never wear it again in my life. And that's, again, very dramatic. But it's like, it's kind of fun to be like, okay, well, I had that, I wore it, I did that. And with the jerseys I have, still when I look at them, it's like, oh, that's so sick. Like, I love that. That's super fun. And when you don't have that anymore, then it's like, are you done? But I still have that after this long, which is maybe both funny, sad, and whatever else. But it's definitely fun, if nothing else.
No, I totally get that. I mean, that feeling of like, it's owning something tangible from something that meant so much to you, as a child, or and continues to mean something to you now. And it's like owning a piece of that story. It's like it somehow brings you closer to it because it's like you have some of it. And like all of the jerseys that I've had, I mean, I think I've had 5 in total. 5, yeah, and 6 if you count the like the tracksuit. And the first thing I do every single time is you put it on. Like it's the first thing you do. It's like I have to wear this,
Just toss it on, yeah.
Yeah, and then I like run to the computer and like trying to screen match it with on whatever, and I love all of that, and we'll continue to love that. I think it's a special thing. I'm sure many people would enjoy it if they sort of got into it. And I think with like Comic Cons and all of that community, it kind of breeds more into this stuff. So I think it's awesome. I love it. I love talking about it. I love seeing it. Incredibly grateful for you sharing today, sharing the collection. I look forward to us doing this again in like a year's time and seeing what you've got next. We can,
yeah, well, that'll be interesting too. We'll find out.
we should make this an annual thing where, and
yeah, like an update.
Yeah, we can just see like what the new stuff is. And also, I mean, we'll have to do other episodes at some point because you've got stuff, Friday Night Lights as well. Speaking of Little Giants, I know that they all have their jerseys, the cast, because we had some of the cast on, and they said they all have them still. There must be doubles.
Yeah. I had a conversation too about with another, some of the folks that we run in a very small, goofy circle with, but sort of talking about like Kenny Wu or Justin, like I don't really want his unless he really wanted to get rid of them. Like part of this, I think that has been fun is it's not like I'm taking these from them.
Yeah.
It's like they're just kind of out there, someone else has them. And I've been sort of given the hypothetical of like, well, what if they wanted them back? It's like, well, they're not mine. I mean, I have them in my house, I guess. But if the character wanted them and that was theirs, and it's like, yeah, sure, because the whole point is kind of like you can live vicariously, or you can have these experiences, and that sort of brings you to them. And I was sort of joking, but not really joking. Probably the only way I would get rid of the Goldberg jersey is if like Sean Weiss wanted it, and then if it's his. We'll see if that ever happens, but that was kind of funny. Most of mine are just random extras and stuff, so it's not like Gordon Bombay is going to want the the Rickard mini haha waves. He probably doesn't care. But for some of them, it's like it's interesting that for again Justin, who has his, again, if he was selling them for charity or doing something like that, yeah, then that'd be fun. But it's what I've enjoyed is it's not like I'm taking it from somebody who also really really enjoys it. For the most part, it's been people who have enjoyed it. They're moving on. They like other stuff, or they're doing this, and you sort of just move stuff around to people who enjoy it most. Right now, maybe that's true with a lot of stuff, but definitely with something like this.
Yeah, for sure. That's awesome. I mean, it's funny you say that about Sean Weiss, because I actually saw an interview that he did. This is like a few years ago now. And it was a radio interview, and he was on YouTube somewhere, so I could probably find the clip to show you. But he was wearing a green D5 Ducks jersey. Have you seen it? Do you know what I'm going to say?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
He says, they say, "Oh, is that the actual jersey?" And he says, "No, this was like one he bought online or whatever." And he said, "If anyone has that jersey, or if it's possible, I would like to get it." Like he said something along the lines of that he would want his green D5 jersey. So if someone is out there and has it and is listening, then he does want the jersey. So, let's see if we could make that happen. That would be cool.
Yeah. And again, we don't need to go through some of his trials and tribulations, but one thing that was kind of, again, fun in a not very great situation for him at that time, was I bought a couple of jerseys from his friend who was raising money for him for his recovery, and did that. Was fun. Paid a little bit more than I probably would have, but did so happily. But then I know he sort of sent me this quick video saying thanks and appreciate it. He did a couple quacks and whatnot, and it was just really funny because it would clearly never have happened otherwise if I didn't get into this very weird niche hobby. But sort of, a genuine kind of like personal moment of somebody who, it was in need of help and was receiving, sort of support through the community and whatnot. But that was like my little, contribution, and hopefully that helped in a small way. But was because I, again, collected hockey Mighty Ducks jerseys 12 years ago, and here I am now.
And that's awesome. And Sean Weiss, it seems like is, from Instagram and whatever, seems to be doing really great, and is like at conventions and things like that. So hopefully we could see him, do a cameo in season 2 of Game Changers if if it gets renewed, hopefully. So that would be awesome. I actually have something. I will show you when it gets here. But I got a little something. I got lucky on eBay the other day, literally in bed, about to go to bed, and I thought I'm just going to type in Game Changers into eBay because I really want their their beanie hat.
Yeah.
Like the yellow hat with "Don't Bother's" on. I was like, I really want it.
Oh yeah.
But I don't get it. Don't worry, I haven't got it. But I wanted that, and I thought maybe someone's doing replicas or whatever. Sure. And I put it. This isn't as exciting as you might hope it's going to be. It's not like a jersey or anything.
The whole point is just to have fun, right?
Right. But someone had put something on, and as we've spoken about before, they didn't title it properly. They didn't title it as used, this, that, and the other. And it's actually brand new, never used. So like a Disney promo item. So like Disney must have been using it as whatever, but it's like a windbreaker. So it's like an anorak over the head sort of windbreaker, which I wear like every day here in the UK because you need light stuff in this when it rains. And I like you, I have a dog, so I'm walking my dog all the time. And it's Ice Palace. You know, the Ice Palace. It's got the Ice Palace logo on.
That's so sweet.
It's like pristine. And the guy had put it up literally like 2 minutes before I'd gone on. So on like a 7-day auction, I just messaged the guy immediately, just like, oh, hey, how did you get this? What's the deal with this? Blah, blah, blah. And he's like, yeah, my cousin works for Disney. So he just gave me loads of this promo
Like
stuff.
Through gift or something.
Yeah. And he was just like, this,
Something like
I
that.
got given all this promo stuff. And I was like, cool. I was like, $40 to just take it now. Like, is that good? And he was just like, yeah, great, no worries, and just ended it. And there we go, it's in transit.
Sweet.
It's like, I'm really,
you're rocking the Ice Palace.
Rocking the Ice Palace. And again, I like that. That's like an obscure one where, unless you know, even if you watch the show, you might not even recognize it. You know,
the logo.
Yeah.
And that's kind of what I've liked about the Minnehaha Waves. It's not, again, it's like such a random, it's like a, I don't know, minute scene in the movie that's has nothing to do with the actual movie part. But I like those relatively obscure, kind of references, and the people who get it, they really get it. And that's what it's all about.
yeah. If you know, you know, the classic ones.
All right.
Well, so everyone, links in the description. Jersey Chasing on Instagram. Connor, thank you as always. This is going to just be a continual series because we're just going to be doing this forever. But not only are you, awesome example of what a collector should be like. That's why I always think of you, is not only are you a great collector of all of this stuff, but you're a great like example of like how to do it politely, courteously. Got there in
there
the
it
end. And you're just great to speak to and enjoy this like passion with, and that's what it's all about, is sharing in it. So thank you for your time. Thank you for everything.
Hey, it's been honestly awesome getting to know you, and I really appreciate being friends with you. And again, very random because it would not have happened otherwise if you didn't outbid me on the Goldberg jersey in the first place on eBay. But that's neither here nor there. But yeah, the next time you'll have to wear this while we talk.
I look forward to that. But do you know what's funny? Are you talking about that Goldberg or the D3 one?
The D3 one. Yeah.
Do you know what's funny? That one, I was actually I wasn't even in the country. I was in Abu Dhabi because I was living my own Mighty Ducks dream. I was coaching basketball for Great Britain.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
And was actually because all of the time difference was all different and whatever, and I was like watching it, and I got back to my hotel room and it was just coincidentally like about to count down, and so I was like got into like sniper it. But that's so funny to think that, and that's going the other way, so it's probably even further away from you than I am now, like as in graphically. But that's so funny. So there you go, they're like domino effects of
yeah, it's pretty funny.
There's probably just the same 5 guys always watching one of these jerseys on eBay, like counting.
That might be true, but that's now that if we know each other, we can just take turns and not fight each other on it.
Yeah, for sure. Well, cool. Well, thank you. Links in the description. Follow Connor, and I never know how to sign these off, so quack.
That's a good one. Let's keep that in.
I'm telling you, you blow this game and nobody makes the team next year.
Mad props.